Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw. On this episode, we're talking about WWE Fastlane. Cars and stuff. There were actually two cars up on the stage. Your speculation is there's no engines in those cars. It's just the bodies.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but yes, I think so.
Right. It was a premium live event that happened. You know,
yes.
I've said this about just a couple of the shows this year from WWE down the stretch a little bit. They raised such a high bar early on that I kind of feel like it's a bit on the difficult side to live up to a lot of those. And secondly, no Roman Reigns. They have built that dude up so much that even though we had new tag champions with Judgment Day dropping their titles and Cena and LA Knight versus the Bloodline, which, let's face it, isn't the hottest feud going, but there's some popular people in that, like LA Knight, and there was a little bit of a story beat there with the new tribal chief, Jimmy Uso, kind of dropping the ball with his team.
Oh, I mean, that's all he's been doing since Roman's been gone. He's come back, has dropped the ball.
An inspiration to everybody.
He's our tribal chief.
And it motivates Roman's return, which will happen, I guess, this Friday on the season.
Yeah, it's upcoming Friday. It potentially motivates Roman versus LA Knight happening either November 4th or at Survivor Series.
Right. So yeah, but in terms of, man, so many of those premium live events, walking into them, man, intrigue. Maybe not so much here, and maybe that's why this one didn't feel like it lived up to at the very least the expectations of that we've had in the past.
Yeah, because I don't think there's a whole lot of expectations necessarily for this particular show because 5 matches were announced. As mentioned, apart from the tag title match, nothing really with stakes involved really seemed to be in a situation where the outcome wasn't obvious. Kind of thought Nakamura and Seth be a solid match. Seth would walk away winner. Sure enough, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
The tag match was a bit more of a toss-up.
Yeah, sure.
In terms of who's going to win the tag titles. I'll say this. 5 matches on the card. They went a little bit under 3 hours. Every match got time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Every single match got plenty of time to tell their story. And despite the fact that most of the matches were upwards of like 15 minutes, several in 20 minutes, and the main event, I think over a half hour maybe, none of them really dragged.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the triple threat, the Asuka, Charlotte, Io match was fantastic. It was really
fantastic.
Good. Probably my match of the night.
So it was a huge show in terms of story beats and stakes? Maybe not really. It was a solid 3-hour wrestling program.
Well, I mean, there were story beats that you would expect to maybe see on a Raw or SmackDown.
Totally.
Like
there were story beats, but
yeah. I mean, had we not just seen Dom lose the North American title, because that was kind of a jaw dropper, he got it back the next day, or 3 days later, rather.
Yeah.
And so I didn't expect Judgment Day to lose, but I also am not shocked that they did because it enables several things. Number 1, Cody gets to go to SmackDown. Number 2, Jay probably not going to be too happy about having to go to SmackDown because he's a tag title holder now and it's cross-brand. But yeah, just sort of in a nutshell, not the most compelling premium live event, but I mean, here's the thing. We've had 2 of these pay-per-views back-to-back that have had kind of an in-your-house feel to it. Hasn't been the most significant thing in the world. The World Heavyweight Championship got to main event. Let's talk about that, I guess, first. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Neither you nor me really felt Shinsuke had a chance because it does seem like right now what they're doing with him is, as much as I would have been totally cool with Shinsuke winning, it feels like right now what they're doing with Seth is sort of proving several things. Number one, creatively speaking, they're doing a really good job building up contenders. This whole story with the back has been a very successful, very solid one. If you look at, the channel point prediction betting in our Twitch channel, Seth was the underdog. So that says to me, a lot of people felt, okay, Shinsuke has a good chance here. And that's, to me, speaks to, hey, they did a pretty good job building up Shinsuke. Yeah. Seth Rollins is looking to prove that this is not the consolation prize. Yeah. He's saying, I'm here every week carrying the burden of being WWE's champion while Roman takes long vacations And
It's the Tribal Chief setup.
And I'm gonna have the tough road doing it. I'm not gonna have the bloodline helping me because that comes along with the Tribal Chief setup. Because Larson, the Tribal Chief setup is only for the Tribal Chief, and it's definitely not for
Seth Rollins.
Correct. So
you got a situation here. Sorry, where Seth, his back injury is very much real, but it's also a metaphor of the burden he's carrying.
Yeah, right.
As the top day-to-day champion. In WWE, we've got a raid here from Alex, Queen of the Ring. Thank you so much, Alex.
What's up, Alex? Hopefully you guys had a good time there watching the premium live event from WWE.
So, when we get the rare instance of metaphors and wrestling storytelling, I got to appreciate it.
Oh, sure,
and
yeah.
They've done a good job of building Nakamura up to be seen as a contender, but preceding that rebuild, he was at best a 50-50 wrestler, so it still needed to get a few wins, more than a few wins, a number of wins, for me to legitimately think that he had a real shot at beating Seth at any point in this feud.
I thought, I will say this, and I know you said, and I agree with the sentiment. But, Seth just got absolutely wrecked during that match. Yeah. And then he hits Nakamura with, a Falcon Arrow to basically
get table
to get the win. That being said, and maybe it's because I had a whole lot of channel points on it, I really did. There were moments in that match where I was like, oh, they might do this for Shinsuke. Like, that's a possibility. And I do think that me even thinking that now or these days versus where we used to be under when Vince was running everything day to day, where contenders meant jack shit.
Yeah.
They'd have championship contender matches that wouldn't mean anything. These days, dude, everybody has a story of some sort. Even Ivar and his feud with the New Day, they're turning him into a monster. Now, do I believe he's going to skyrocket up and get to the title? No. Karrion Kross, when they do use him, his main thing is what are you chuckling at?
So I was looking at the time of the matches for Fastlane tonight.
Yeah.
And somebody put in here for the main event.
Oh no.
Jeff Hardy defeated Matt Hardy.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
I don't know why.
Yeah, people are weird, man. But I lost my train of thought there. I don't know what I was saying. Yeah. But no. It goes to how they're building characters these days.
Yes.
And you look at Karrion Kross, a guy who just takes nothing but L's. But what do they do with him? They at least try to justify it by saying, "Well, you're changed after the fact."
Yep.
There's so much more thought being put into the characters and into the feuds that, like, this match, I didn't think Shinsuke had a shot. But by the end, I don't know. Maybe he would. Like when he misted Seth and Seth went flying off that ladder, like, oh, shit. Okay, maybe. Didn't happen, and I wouldn't have put money on it. And in fact, I put the opposite. I put channel points against it.
A significant amount at that.
But I do appreciate that enough considerations being put into these feuds and characters that
everybody's got something going on. And, when we talk about the Attitude Era in a lot of respects, we mentioned the good stuff, but there's a lot of bad during the Attitude Era. But one thing about the Attitude Era is that if you're on TV, odds are you had a story. Mm-hmm. Doesn't necessarily mean it was a good one, but if you were involved on a regular basis, they were trying to tell a story with you.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And we kind of see that carrying over now to Triple H booked WWE, that if you're on TV, more often, odds are you're not on TV just to be, enhancement, essentially, to lose to somebody. Mm-hmm. It happens, but more often than not, if you're on TV, you're involved in a story.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And that's refreshing from the Vince days when people just be on TV, seemingly just kind of floating aimlessly from match to match, episode of Raw to episode of Raw, with no direction.
Yeah, right. No direction and being confused about what their character even is. I mean, I point to this endlessly. And I notice some people in chat bringing up, wouldn't tonight have been the perfect night for Priest to cash in on Seth Rollins? And that could be debated, but I did love the backstage segment where Priest is like, I'm ready to go now. No, man, your knee still needs ice.
Busted.
Your knee is wrecked. This is not the perfect moment, and you need the perfect moment. There will be plenty more, especially with the story that Seth is telling. He's challenging everybody to a fight. Your time will come. And Rhea Ripley says, give it over.
Give me the briefcase, yeah.
Give me the briefcase. And he does. Now, that is a million miles away from where Rhea Ripley was a couple of years ago when she was like, just sort of like, she's a good guy kind of, she's a bad guy kind of, she's hanging out with Nikki Cross, she's like making awkward, cringy jokes. Like, she just didn't know who she was supposed to be. We have no doubt who she is now.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like the bar has been set pretty high so that a mid-level pay-per-view, which, let's be honest, had a mid-level, was mid-level quality tonight, feels like a little bit lower on the pole because some of the other premium live events have been so damn good.
We've seen a lot of traditional B-level pay-per-views actually really, really deliver, not just in terms of match quality, but story beats.
Yeah.
Let's look at Elimination Chamber earlier this year.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Where there was a pretty massive story beat following what happened at the Rumble. So, yeah, but without these kind of setup shows, which I think it was, especially in the tag title situation, it's a setup for something they're going to deliver on down the line. You need the setup to deliver in the end. You need to put the building blocks in place to eventually get the payoff. And one thing that Triple H has shown is that he's very deliberate in his pacing. He's not going to rush anything.
Yeah.
And if it means dropping a pay-per-view that might not be the most exciting both on paper and delivery, knowing that he's putting pieces in place to pay off down the road, he will do it.
Yeah, yeah. And you see that all over the place. You see a lot of pieces being put into place. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Let's talk about those tag titles. Judgment Day dropped them to Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. As I had already mentioned, this allows Cody to spend some time
seamlesly and organically become a member of the SmackDown roster without saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, I was the one traded for Jey Uso." Yeah, that can just be like, "I'm here already." By the way, it can be an aside. I'm the person that completes the Jey Uso trade, but I'm already here, so it's kind of immaterial.
Now, do you think that because they could accomplish that goal fairly quickly? Obviously, you're going to have. Look, we saw the Judgment Day just lose the North American title and get it right back.
Yeah.
Is the sole purpose of this, from a story perspective, to get Cody on SmackDown, to get Jey on SmackDown for a spell before Judgment Day gets those titles right back? Do you see that as a possibility, or do you think that those titles are going to go elsewhere instead of the Judgment Day? They seem to love their Judgment Day.
They do love their Judgment Day. I mean, I haven't watched SmackDown yet, but the closing segment of SmackDown was Bloodline and Judgment Day taking on Cody and John Cena and LA Knight and Jey Uso. So obviously they see Judgment Day roughly on the same level as Bloodline, at least in terms of importance to their respective brands.
Yeah.
And Judgment Day has been the focus of Raw for months.
Yeah, they have been.
And I honestly don't know. In a way, it makes sense because if the idea is that there's constant percolating issues within the Judgment Day, then having them drop titles for a short spell only to eventually win them back to kind of, all right, there's tensions are elevated. Okay, they got the titles back. All right, everything's cool as long as they win. Someone loses their title, back to tensions. Okay, we'll work together, get it back. And as Rhea's fond of saying, they're not viewed as threats.
Yeah.
And for that thread to continue, you got to have that push and pull where they're booked as like, oh, all right, they're a cohesive unit, take seriously. And then 2 weeks later, they're for the most part, save for Rhea, completely and utterly hapless.
Do you think, because that's a really good point, that is her central thesis. Do you think that they lose the titles? Shouldn't there be some sort of extreme amount of retaliation, them going on a warpath of some sort? I don't know how that would manifest itself, like a physical titles beyond, of course, Damian Priest cashing in, which being, the top two titles on the brand then sets him and Rhea, and to a degree Dom, because he sort of belongs to Rhea, apart from Finn Balor and the guy who kind of cost them their tag titles.
Oh, not even kind of. Definitely cost them the tag titles.
JD McDonald, Google my name. JD McDonald. I mean, I don't know when. I do like they keep on teasing the cash in. It is like sort of this looming threat. And I know people are, look, I understand, like, there is, and we've talked about this before, there is an element of post Vince traumatic syndrome, you know, with like, he wouldn't pay things off. And so everybody would just want those things that they like to get paid off so that we know that it happened. Well, Triple H is taking a much slower approach. There's an example, Gargano. They waited months because they didn't feel like Ciampa versus the Bloodline was the place for him to make this. I'm sorry. Against Judgment Day was the place to make the save. And instead it was against Imperium. They waited until it was the right moment to carry out that story. But I understand that, like, given that we're only, I don't know, a year plus removed and Vince is still around.
Yeah.
The general fan base is like, man, I want to see this paid off because there's no guarantee it will be. And there are no guarantees in wrestling. People can get hurt tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But I do give WWE a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt these days when it comes to a lot of pieces are in play. We have no idea what Cody's actual game. Well, we know what it is. We don't know what path he's going to take to get there, get to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. How is Jay going to react to being a tag champion without his brother and being on SmackDown part of the time? Is the Bloodline going to make up? Is Jimmy going to be like, oh, me and Solo, we want a piece of, you know, the tag titles?
Yep.
I mean, God damn. My point is there's a lot of pieces in place.
Well, and then you got White Brownie brings this up. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They probably want another opportunity to get those tag titles back.
Right, yeah.
That they lost to Judgment Day. And Kevin Owens has a bone to pick with Cody for bringing Jey Uso over to Raw already.
Yeah.
He's got obvious issues with Jey Uso.
Yeah.
So, as mentioned, there's a lot of pieces in play. And that didn't even mention what they're doing in the undercard in terms of developing other tag teams. You know, you had Imperium pick up a win on Raw last week. You got DIY getting back together. If the Street Profits can never get on the same page with Bobby Lashley, you can't discount them as contenders for those tag titles.
They're setting a lot of things up.
Yep.
They really are. So yeah, I think it's, you know, even though it was a, and here's the thing, like you said, how long was this thing? It was like less than 3 hours.
It was just a little bit under 3 hours.
Like, that ain't no different than a Raw. A Raw is worse because you have all sorts of other shit going on, a bunch of talky bits. And this really felt like an old In Your House where, like, story beats will happen. It's not a big one. It's not a big deal. You know, Survivor Series is coming up in Chicago. We might get Chicago Man P there.
And then you got the Saudi show.
Saudi show's
going to be 4th because they always book those huge experience equal to or greater than WrestleMania.
Contractually obligated to be equal to or greater than WrestleMania.
Greater than WrestleMania. Following that, as you mentioned, Survivor Series Chicago. Will Phil be there to confront Seth? Maybe. Who knows? So it makes, you know, would it be great if every premium live event would have the same weight? Maybe not of WrestleMania, but all the other shows. Yeah, but is that like believable to do on a regular basis? Probably not. You're gonna have to have setup shows sometimes.
I'm watching the press conferences on the screen right now. Byron Saxton's suit.
Ooh, describe it.
God damn it. It's got like this wonderful like royal blue shirt underneath and like this sort of like nice creamy banana yellow blazer.
Wow.
God damn it, pal. Looks like $1 million. Here comes Jay strutting. He's pretty happy. He doesn't know that he's been played by Cody Rhodes.
Oh, 1,000%.
Which is a great segue.
Played by Cody.
Good segue because we can talk about the opening match, which was the tag title match, the Judgment Day versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso.
Main event, Jey Uso. So latter third of the match. So Damien's looking for a south of heaven choke slam on Jey. Jey escapes, hits a spear. He goes up the top rope, but then Rhea and Dom run down to ringside. So Jey takes out Dom with a super kick and gets face to face with Rhea. Rhea does a little wave.
Oh, little
wave
flirty.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. This whole bit was great.
Jey can't take his eyes off her. It's difficult.
He's doing that thing to her,
she has next level charisma. Next level Kavorka, just absolutely 11 out of 10, Larson. My goodness.
Absolutely.
Gracious.
So he gets back in the ring. Balor and Priest attack him. So then Priest has Jay on the top rope, hits the Frankensteiner. Finn follows the coup de grace. Meanwhile, Cody's like sleeping on the ringside area. He finally wakes up, breaks up that pin. So Cody stirs Jay, and then Priest and Finn get to their feet. They're all doing the hockey fight, standoff type deal. Priest boots Cody midair, and then JD runs down to get involved. Well, Rhea hits Jay with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Finn covers, gets a 2. So Priest chokeslams Cody on the apron and clears off the announce table. He puts Cody on top of it. And JD has a briefcase at this point. He takes a swing at Cody. Cody moves, and JD hits Priest with the briefcase right in the knee.
Ouch.
And so Cody hits Priest with the crossroads on the table in the ring. Jay takes out Finn and JD. Jay hits a super kick, tags in Cody. They hit a Cody Cutter 1D combo, and then Cody follows with the crossroads on Finn to get the win. New tag champs.
I'm going to go back and listen to the audio of this Jay Cody thing because it just looks like they're goofing. Jay's having a good time right now.
Oh, I imagine. I imagine.
Yeah, man, and especially Rhea's acting through all this. Like, it's so good. Like, they're such a great machine of performance. The Judgment Day is
absolutely,
and they all feed off each other, and again, it just sort of leaves you wondering what's going to happen next with Judgment Day. It's like, God damn, somebody's gonna pay, and that's what I love about so many of the stories. Like, what's going to happen with Jimmy and Solo? Like Paul Heyman literally is letting his gray come out. What a stroke of genius!
Because he's so stressed out.
Yeah,
it's great.
I hope Roman. Do you think Roman's going to come back from vacation completely and totally well rested, or is he coming back knowing that like this is a mess and now I have to deal with it?
It's probably going to be. I'm trying to have a good recuperative vacation. I got Wise Man calling me every hour, venting about what a mess this is.
Yeah. I still would love it. Said this during the stream. I would love it if Roman came back and it was revealed that he had blocked Heyman's number.
Oh, I know.
Like every time Heyman says, call Roman Reigns, it just doesn't.
Yeah. So after the match, Rhea screaming at JD, Cody, Jay, celebrate with their titles. And Cody trying to kayfabe button up that title belt despite the Velcro.
He puts that's a great detail to remember. He asks Jay to button the belt up, and Jay just slaps it.
Velcros it. I know.
You're good to go, Oos.
After that, we're backstage with Wade, Booker T. They're talking. Xavier Woods steps in. Refers to them both as legends. Then we get a Pizza Hut commercial.
It was a really entertaining one though.
It was. And Wade even busted out. I got some bad news during this. He's like, I don't got any bad news.
I've got no bad news. I love Pizza Hut. And then it's funny because like during the next match when the actual Pizza Hut comes, like Xavier Woods and Michael Cole and Corey Graves, all people, because Michael Cole, he used to be kind of chunk, but he got fit and he's still fit.
He did for a stretch, yeah.
All these guys are super fit and they like take the smallest bite of this like just puddle of grease and cheese.
Yeah. They didn't get the pizza they used for the commercials. This was actually one that probably delivered to the arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
So this next match was Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, with some amazing matching gear.
Ooh.
Oh, it was so good.
The gold looks clean, man. It looks clean.
It was great. Versus Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Mystery Partner.
Yeah, man.
So, for whatever reason, Mystery Partner decided not to make their appearance till, 80% through the match.
I'm saying all my hellos.
Yeah, Carlito. Mystery Partner. Carlito. So he runs down the ring. He runs down, gets the hot tag from Rey. He goes on a run against Montez, against Lashley. He clotheslines Dawkins out, and Rey hits him with a senton. And then Santos takes out Lashley with suicide dive. Carlito hits a backstabber on Montez Ford to get the win. It was like bang, 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 Carlito wins.
Apparently he's been signed for a very long time. I think since right after the Backlash pay-per-view, right?
Since May or June, yeah.
Yeah, my goodness. But again, let's wait for the right moment, till 80% into the match that he's coming back at.
Yeah, exactly. So LWO are celebrating the ring, and that's when the pizza bit happened. And Xavier Woods had this great Ribera-style Pizza Hut satin jacket.
We're getting these made. We're getting these ones made.
Oh, yeah, we're getting some. So apparently FWM says Tyrese Halliburton, former Sacramento King, current Indiana Pacer,
That's who it was. Yeah.
is asking questions at the press conference.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. That's great. Man, what an boy. Good for him. I remember when he came to town and it was like unveiled that, he loved wrestling.
He's a huge wrestling fan, yeah.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Missed opportunity, never try to get him on the show.
Oh, easily. We're terrible at interviews though, man.
Yeah, we're not very good like at reaching out to people and saying, "Hey, let's do something together."
Yeah, not good at that either. We should probably do it. Hey, let's make a New Year's resolution, okay? Let's do that.
I got 2 months to think about it. 3 months to think about it.
After that, they were replaying some video of Jade coming to the arena from the pre-show. Holy shit, she looked like
Superstar.
$1 million.
Superstar.
How do you fumble that, dude?
Yeah.
God damn it, pal. My goodness.
Absolute superstar. Triple H is there to greet her as she gets to the arena.
He's got all the charm going. Hey, how's it going? It's good to see you. You could be a big star here in the WWE. They didn't know what to do with you before.
Yeah, that's pretty good Triple H. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Not really, though. It kind of sounds like a little Undertaker. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Doesn't sound anything like
I've got one good impression as Dax.
It's good. I mean, it's more like, what's the bear's name from the Muppets?
Bobo. Yeah, no, I used to have a decent Dax, but then I just turned it to Bobo the Bear from the Muppets. Got to feed my family. The top guy's out.
Yeah.
Michael Bullitt says, I'm pretty sure, I think he means Jay is drunk at the press conference.
He's celebrating already, huh?
Looking at his face, I would believe it if somebody told me that.
All right.
But I'm not going to catch because I'd have to hear him first.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I can't tell when I can't really tell. Like, if you're drunk, I can't tell. Like, after a certain point, if you're like everywhere, then probably, if you're passed out, I'd be like, you probably had way too much. But you've got a very, like, I don't know, I know when you're super high. Because we got super high at a Raw House show.
We did.
WWE Women's Championship match was next. Asuka versus Io Sky versus Charlotte. Holy
match of the night.
Shit, this match was awesome.
It was great.
This was a pay-per-view level match. This is fucking awesome.
1,000%.
It was great because it started off because Asuka and Charlotte, right? They're supposed to be on the same page. Asuka's been posting so many pictures of them as tag team champions, hugging each other on the same page. This fool just started the match misting the shit out of Charlotte's face. And Io was like, oh my God. It was like, dude, it was like the HBK and Triple H against John Cena when it was a triple threat, but it was like, oh man, John Cena's up against DX. And immediately Triple H just super kicks the shit out of Triple H. HBK super kicks out of Triple H. And Cena's like, oh fuck. Like that's how this is going to be. I loved it. I thought that was an awesome spot.
That was great. And the match that followed was awesome. So towards the finish, Flair is looking for is locked on to figure 4, looking to bridge up for the figure 8, but then Io breaks that up with a Meteora, gets a 2 count there. Eventually, Io puts on a crossface on Charlotte, while Asuka also puts on a sharpshooter on Charlotte. Asuka releases a hold, looking for a Asuka lock, but then Io hits a palm strike. So then Asuka and Charlotte hit a double team code breaker. And then Charlotte hits Asuka with the spear, gets a 2 with that. Bayley runs down to check on Io. It's like, hey, come on, let's go. Let's get this. And then she basically picks her up and throws her back in the ring.
Yeah.
And so she gets on the apron. Charlotte boots Io off the apron onto Bayley. Sorry, Io got on the apron. Asuka then hits a code breaker off the top rope onto Charlotte. That gets a 2. So then Charlotte rolls through an Asuka lock. Locks on a figure 4, then a figure 8. Bayley gets on the apron to distract the ref while Asuka's there tapping out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Io hits the moonsault on Charlotte, covers to get the win.
Yeah. Stellar stuff. Just absolutely stellar stuff, man.
The pace was fantastic. Creativity was off the charts.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Before we continue on with the next match, quick reminder here. We are doing our darndest to get to a certain subscriber goal on YouTube. So if you're watching the show and you have not hit that subscribe button or the notify bell, please do so. It goes a long way towards helping grow the channel and get our videos pushed onto the YouTube home screen of what a bunch
algorithm
of people and stuff.
There's math involved.
Algorithm,
I think.
yeah, I don't know, the chalkboard or something.
Formulas and whatnot.
Right now, we're at 198,185.
Steve, if I may interject here,
Please, absolutely.
I have a small request of our viewers right now. If you have not subscribed to the channel,
Please help us.
asking for 7 of you.
7.
Seven. That's it.
That's it.
7
That's
who have not subscribed to hit that subscribe button, that notify bell. That'll get us. So we're only less than 700 away from reaching our goal.
Yeah, which is 198,891 because it's a palindrome, which means it goes the same way from the front to back and then back to front. Same thing. 198,891. Pretty easy. And then right after that, we just get straight to 200,000.
200,002, yes.
Mm-hmm, right, exactly. Yeah, that's the next palindrome. Oh man, Maggie says 7 subs and I'll drop 5 gifted memberships to YouTube. See right there, boom. Return on investment.
Incentive.
Yeah, man. Also, for those of you who've been waiting for some new merchandise, guess what? You're in luck.
It's here.
Right now, we've got some brand new Halloween-themed spooky merch. That's right. It's a merch drop over at friendoshop.com, and you can use code SPOOKY to get a 20% discount right now. We've got new shirts, new hoodies. We've got our first poster on the shop, and we've got our first coffee mug. So we've got some new designs, some reappropriated designs from old stuff. But it's kind of Halloween themed a little bit. And you can check that out now. And it's the last merch drop we've got until Black Friday coming up in about, 2 months from now?
Month and a half.
Month and a half, yeah, about a
Roughly,
month and a half.
yeah, month and a half.
So be sure to check that out and use that promo code. It's there for a reason. It's there to save you money. Also, you can check out patreon.com/Steve and Larson or click join on the YouTube. You can get access to bonus episodes. This past Thursday, we did a bonus episode where we power ranked all the Star Wars properties.
At least the ones we've seen.
Yeah, the ones we've seen. We didn't do the those silly cartoons because we're
men.
grown men.
No, I'm not that familiar with.
We don't watch cartoons. We're grown men. I watch cartoons sometimes.
Yeah, I've watched cartoons as an adult for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've actually watched some of the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon.
Yeah, it was
just not enough to make a definitive opinion one way or the other on it.
Yeah, no, it's too. It's like for little kids is what it is. Yeah. All those subs, all the Star Wars nerds are like, I'm desubbing from the channel. God damn it.
I know.
Clown, the posters are not signed. No, they're not. They just go straight from point A to point B, and we are not in the middle of that.
3 away.
Oh my
We'll be under 700,000 for our goal. Anyways, so after Io's win, Bailey and Dakota comes, celebrates with her. And then we see LA Knight arrive at the venue in the Slim Jim mobile.
Yeah, right.
It's got the full Slim Jim, wrap on it. And he's coming out all sweaty, like there's no AC. All the vents are just filled with Slim Jims.
Right, yeah. They probably put a whole rack of Slim Jims on the engine, so it's just blowing,
hot.
And they super glued
grease
the
air.
the slider to the red, which means hot. So he's and so he gets out, he's all sweaty, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going, Samantha Irvin?" And she's like, "God, you stink like Slim Jim."
Reek of Slim Jim.
Yeah. Snap into it. And he just walks off.
Exactly. Then Pat McAfee.
Yeah, man.
Makes his way to the ring. They're in Indianapolis for Fastlane. That's where he's from. That's where he had a great career as the punter for the Colts.
He had to prove it also. He had the title, the NFL WWE
title.
collaboration title for the Colts.
Yeah.
I have a video over at WrestleJuice where I look at all those titles. They're fairly redundant. Well, I mean, it works if the logo works. I had some pissed off Steelers fans.
Oh,
because I was running down their logo because it's kind of crap.
Oh, you don't like the Steelers logo?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
I did get educated though, because now I know why it's those 3 colors.
Yeah, let's do a steel.
Yeah. But then it's they just have the word Steelers in the the least impressive font. You know me, I'm
sure the 60s that was tip top design.
Buddy, it ain't the 60s anymore.
I know, but you look at a lot of designs for sports logos these days, and it's all so generic and kind of looks the same.
Well, it all looks like it's been run through like a logo generator.
Exactly.
Yeah, but like
I'd rather have something like what the Steelers has rather than something that's just generic with some, cartoony looking steel worker bursting through some, like block font.
This press conference is off the rails right now. Jay is a mess. Who's got the worst one, of course, though? It's the Browns. They don't have a logo. It's just the color.
They have
orange.
A mascot.
They have a mascot, yeah.
Yeah, it's like an elf.
Yeah, right, yeah. What are they doing at this press conference? They've got like a handheld camera now on them? All right.
All right,
Anyways.
Our review's getting off the rails, too. So Pat McAfee comes to the ring. He says there's no chance in hell I was missing the show on this night in this glorious city. We all know it when we see it. As members of the WWE Universe, we will come to a town, and they won't appreciate the fact we're here. They get bored, they boo, they suck. That's not Indianapolis. I think Indy deserves a WrestleMania. If you think Indy should host a WrestleMania, give me a hell yeah. So, of course, everybody in the crowd goes, oh, hell yeah. So he says, shout out to Stone Cold. Shout out to all of you who earned that. Before I go sit down with the GOAT, Michael Cole. And what do you call Corey?
Oh, he just said the hater. Corey Graves, Triple H is out.
He says, allow me to introduce a man who was a 16-time world champion, a man who will be teaming with LA Knight, ladies and gentlemen, John Cena. So John Cena makes his entrance. We get him and LA Knight tagging against Bloodline members Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso.
The story of this match was very simple. John Cena got isolated, had his ass whooped, hot tagged to LA Knight. John Cena throws Solo Sikoa out, so LA Knight drops Jimmy Uso with a billionaire finger trap, gets the win. That's it. That's what's happened.
That's it. Cena got isolated for like 12 minutes.
Dude, it was forever. It was forever. Yeah.
Yeah, but Cena was just getting stomped on, taking all the moves. LA Knight comes in, wins the match for his team.
Crowd loved that hot tag, though. They love LA Knight. He got God damn. And you look out in the crowd, man. Oh my God. So much
yellow
LA Knight
shirts. Yeah.
So much.
I mean, I'm not huge on the design, but it's smart having the shirt pop so much. Mm-hmm. I get so much of their other merchandise.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
It stands out. You look at the shots in the crowd, you see 35% of the crowd wearing those yellow LA Knight shirts.
And then like a good chunk of them are wearing the black one with the white font on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of Carlito's new shirt?
When I saw it, it reminded me of like a Retribution shirt.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah.
I know what you think.
It reminds me of the AJ Styles shirt.
Yeah. The TNA one.
TNA, yeah. Like somebody had like a giant container.
Didn't Val Venus also have one that was kind of...
Like somebody had like there's Halliburton again. Like they keep on going to Halliburton. Hey, look, it's Halliburton. Look at that. He's a basketball player. But he's also a journalist. It's crazy. Maybe you could be in the WWE. The story never ends here. Once your NBA story ends, you could write a new story here in WWE.
So yeah, LA Knight gets the win. Cena's about to raise LA Knight's hand. He's all, nah. He raises John Cena's hand. And then we're backstage, and that's the spot we mentioned where Priest is like
flipping baby face that guy is, man.
Oh, massive. Yeah. And so Finn is like, hey, tonight wasn't our night. We'll get him back. Mm-hmm. And then Priest was like, all right, that'd be fine for you. I ain't leaving here empty-handed. I'm getting that title tonight's tonight.
I want that title.
And so he grabs his briefcase and holds it right towards camera. And Rhea comes in and goes, no. You said you were going to take your time to do it the right moment.
Yeah.
Priest is saying this while he's got a huge bag of ice on his knee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rhea's like, you said you're only going to cash this in at the right moment. You think now's the right moment? As he's got a giant hunk of ice on his leg. And Priest is like, guess not. Yeah. And Rhea says, give it to me. Give me the briefcase. He hands the briefcase over to Rhea, and she takes it. Leader Judgment Day right there.
Dude, I know she says, but here's the thing. And this is something that some people should probably understand, especially if you're on the verge of maybe showing up in WWE.
Yeah, for another stint after being gone for, 9 years.
You never say you're the leader of anything.
You have to say you're the leader. Guess what?
You're not the
Probably
leader.
not the leader.
You just be the leader. And everybody will acknowledge that you're the leader.
You can't anoint yourself as the leader.
No.
Everybody else has to do that.
Right. And you need to know diplomacy. Anyways. Getting off track here.
That's good advice, though, Steve. I'm happy you brought that up.
I think it's really good advice, and I think, maybe something to think about come November. That led to our main event, last man standing match. There were actually people in our YouTube comments for Friendo Club for the Meltzer star rating review video that was not into me saying Mitch that way. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Why?
I'm going to have to dial that back, sadly.
We've been doing that for like years.
I know. It's my favorite thing. Hey, we picked up some like new viewers there.
We did.
People who had somehow never seen a Stephen Larson video, which is crazy.
That's great. That's what I like to hear and see.
That's awesome. Yeah. We're like, we're in our early 20s. We're just starting this.
Yeah. I started balding prematurely and going gray in my late teens.
Hey, buddy, all we got to do, man, is put some Vaseline on the lens.
Oh, yeah. Get some diffusion on there. I know.
They might believe it.
Exactly.
Oh, man. So anyways, this is a long-ass match.
It was, and it was mostly Nakamura beating the shit out of Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really beat the shit out of that guy.
He wrecked him. Just wrecking his back all over the place. So at one point during the match, Seth sets up a ladder next to the announce table, clears it off. When he tries for a stomp on it, Nakamura gets out of the way. So he tries again. And the last half of this match, Michael Cole at commentary is just yelling at Seth to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Says, you don't have to do this. It's the end of your career. You keep fighting. So again, Seth looks at the ladder. He puts Nakamura, drapes him over the table. He starts to climb. And then Nakamura gets up right as Seth turns around to look for the stomp. Seth turns back around as Nakamura is climbing the opposite side of the ladder. Nakamura sprays him with a shit ton of red mist.
So much, like a bucket.
It was a ton.
It was a lot.
So Rollins falls off the ladder, goes through the table. And Nakamura is just chilling on top of the ladder. The ref starts the count. Seth gets up at 9. So Nakamura puts Seth back in the ring, hits him with a backbreaker onto a chair that was set up, hits him with the Kinshasa that puts him through a table that was set up in the corner. Nakamura thinks that's it. He's posing. Ref counts. Seth rolls out of the ring, lands on his feet on the floor to beat the 10 count. So Nakamura throws him over the timekeeper area. They brawl up into the crowd. Nakamura lifts Seth up and drapes him over a platform near the guardrail. But instead, Rollins elbows him off, hits the pedigree on the same platform. The ref starts to count when they're both down. Seth is up at 7. Nakamura is up at 9. And then Seth hits a Falcon Arrow off that thing through a table set up. Both men are down. Seth barely beats the 10 count. Nakamura can't. So we had like 15 minutes of Nakamura basically just destroying Seth all over the ringside area.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part. To say Seth didn't get any of his shit in. He got some of his shit in. But it was more or less Nakamura dominating this match. One pedigree. One Falcon Arrow through a table.
He gave him a stomp.
There's probably 4 times. Here's the thing.
He gave him a stomp.
That was earlier, though. There was 4 times during this match where it's like if Nakamura would have won, all right, that makes sense. I think 4, at least 3.
Oh, yeah. The stomp was in the... Was the stomp in the ring? No.
It was earlier on.
Okay. Yeah. Bright side. Okay. Hey, he won with something different.
Yeah.
Didn't win with like a stomp through a table off a ledge or something.
He did stomp out the pedigree. That's right. It was like the little... He didn't run for the stomp. He just did it.
Okay. That's what I thought. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Falcon, it's not the most devastating move, but through a table, I'd have a hard time getting up.
It's not so much that he won with that. It's the fact that it was, I compared it to Gargano versus Adam Cole in NXT, their 2 out of 3 falls match, where it was in New York. It felt like Adam Cole had to hit Johnny Gargano with a bust to pin him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And this match had similar vibes, where Nakamura was just throwing all sorts of stuff at Seth, and Seth would find a way to get to his feet.
Yeah. And I know you and I were both down on that match before, and I understand that's why we're sort of down on this one. But I think that Seth did. I mean, to look at the other side of it, Seth did a really good job milking those 10 counts and getting up at the last second. Yeah. I thought there was a decent amount of, for me anyways, there was a decent amount of tension in this match.
And I'm not trying to paint this as a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. It just felt like maybe Seth should have been on a more prolonged streak of getting more offense in, or not getting his ass kicked so much.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I'm glad you mentioned what your thoughts are about the match, because tomorrow, that's right, tomorrow, Larson, we're going to be dropping over at the Friendo Club Wrestling channel, which you can subscribe to right now, our star ratings.
I'm looking for a piece of paper so I can write them down right now.
Right. You can start thinking about this, sleep on it, but like you'll have them ready
sleeping.
to go.
The show's over. I'm doing my star ratings right now.
Well, we still have to finish this show. We got to outro the show. Yeah. Okay. Well, tomorrow at some point, we're going to be giving you guys our star ratings. We don't wait a week like those other star ratings. That's right. You can check them out tomorrow at Friendo Club Wrestling. Hey, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in today. We appreciate it, all the friendos. Also, shout out to John Hosey, the first two-time Big Blue Predictions champion. He won Week of Predictions 2. So, I'm sorry, Week of Champions 2. Well done. Larson's doing his star rating so we can get him up fresh tomorrow, unlike those other guys.
Other star ratings.
Till then, till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.